All right, so we're actually recording this session. We had one last week of That's the Game with your host, Sam Bauer. Basically, what I'm here doing is I am just talking about stuff over the last week, um, talk about stuff. Basically, don't mind the stuff in the background, the music. We just have a little bit of music going. So, lighten the vibe. So if you can't hear me that well, I'm sorry. Next time we'll turn down the music a little bit, get it all set in stone. But that being said, we have a lot to talk about. First, I want to say prayers up for Kevin Durant. He gained a lot of respect from me last night. Very, very big, bold move. Playing last night, even though he had a calf injury. And while he was cleared, I don't think he was completely healthy, if that makes sense. So, yes, he was cleared, but was he completely healthy? I don't think so. So, mad respect to him. His team is down 3-1. He wanted to come back and see if they could win it. And nope. KD's out for the rest of the game. And I did hear from insider sources that he might be out all of next year, too. He might opt into his player option, see if he can get a couple games next year to show he can still play and then sign a big contract elsewhere. That being said, I'm just praying for it to not be a severe injury because Kevin Durant, like we said, is a great player and he deserves a big contract. I have no hate for Kevin Durant anymore. When he first went to Golden State, I'm like, what the heck, dude? This is dumb. Why would you do this? But now I have no hate. I can't hate on Kevin Durant anymore. He came back despite being hurt to help his team win the finals. And I think he proved everything he needed to in that quarter and a half. He proved, one, that they can't win without him. If the Raptors win the series, he showed that the Raptors cannot win without him. 2, he proved he's still a deadly scorer. Even if he can't use his Achilles or his calf, he still can score. He's still a good shooter and stuff. I think that he proved everything he needed to. In 3, that he has heart and that he will come back if needed, despite being hurt. So, all respect to Kevin Durant. I'm done hating on him. I've always found his move to Golden State weak. I still think it is, but I have no more hate for Kevin Durant after what he did yesterday, and came back to win. To win, they did win the game, and I think the Warriors, with the backs against the wall, they really showed something. They really showed something that they can. They showed that they are resilient. They will fight. And if one of their players gets downed, you better believe you're getting their best shot. And I loved Toronto going into this matchup because I felt that they were the underdog. I felt that they were the team that was not supposed to win. Right now, and I'm still rooting for Toronto, but I right now think that Golden State is the team that nobody thinks is going to win. I've been seeing Raptors in 5, Raptors in 6, all over the place now, people switching sides. I still think that the Warriors can win this. This is one of the most resilient teams in the past that we've ever seen. And I don't think that people realize that because they've never played from behind. But when they're playing from behind, one of their best players gets downed, you think they're going to quit. You just think, oh, they're used to being in a lead. Once they get behind, you don't think they're going to keep going. That is false. Draymond Green, as much as I don't like his methods and I don't really like him at all, I think that he is an emotional leader, and I think every single team needs a Draymond Green. Trash talk. He's the only one standing up to Drake. He is. And I love to see that. I love Drake, and I think he owns a lot of real estate in the Warriors' heads. So I think Draymond is the only one fighting that. I think every single team needs a Draymond. Every single team needs a Draymond Green. An emotional player that can continue to pick your players up when they're feeling down. When a player like KD goes down, they could have lost yesterday if Kyle Lowry even got that shot off. that could have gone in the net. Draymond Green tipped it, blocked it. He's very lucky that he did that. But I don't even have anything else to say. Draymond Green, every team needs a Draymond Green-esque player on their roster. Whether you like it or not, they have to have a Draymond Green-esque player. There's a lot of teams that have that. There is. Thunder have Russell Westbrook. I love Russell. I do. He's an absolute G. You know, he's strong, he's resilient, and he will not take trash talk. A silent but deadly one, Dame. We showed that round one. The Heat have James Johnson, stuff like that. The Lakers have Lance Stevenson. I think he's an emotional leader, despite how joking around he can be. I think that Pat Beverly is the one for the Clippers. The Boston Celtics had Kyrie. I think he was an emotional leader. He just wasn't a very good physical leader in terms of that locker room. It's Marcus Smart is that emotional leader in the Celtics locker room. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think every team needs a Draymond-esque player. Not necessarily. I don't really agree with all his antics, but I do think that him emotionally picking up that roster, that more teams need that, and I think that it'll happen. And then, who should trade for Anthony Davis? I don't think it should be the Lakers. The Lakers should not give up that much. They can trade for an all-star, but do it for Beal. Get Beal or Klay Thompson, and I think Beal could average 28 points per game with the Lakers with how they play. And then Klay Thompson, I think they should trade for Klay, or they should sign Klay Thompson and trade for Brad Beal. Have a Lonzo, Klay, or Beal, Klay, because Klay's taller. LeBron, and then JaVale maybe. I don't know who's going to play center for him, but they need somebody who can. And so you have three guys who take eyes off three-point shooters, Lonzo, JaVale, and LeBron. LeBron is a fairly good outside shooter, but he's obviously not worthy of being the best outside shooter. He's not worthy of being their number one outside shooter. So if you get two sharpshooters, Klay and Beal, then they have guys outside. And if both of them come, I think they could all average 20 points per game, Klay, Beal, and LeBron. You have two great shooters on the outside that can absolutely dominate for you. But in terms of trading for Bradley Beal, there are guys that are off limits. For this plan to work, Lonzo is off limits. I know people don't want to hear that, but Lonzo's defensive prowess and his passing and rebounding ability far outweighs anything he can shooting the ball. He's pretty much Russell Westbrook, a less athletic Russell Westbrook. And he's still fairly athletic. I love his passing ability. I love his rebounding. I think that a year or two more under LeBron, and they could have a championship roster. So I do not think that the Lakers should go for Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis is not a classic LeBron running game. LeBron usually is a shooter or a guard to help him, and a forward, which could be Anthony Davis, but I think it should be Brandon Ingram or Kyle Kuzma. You have to choose to keep one of them. You can't keep both, because you're going to have to trade one of them. So this offseason should be sign a star to a max deal and find a bunch of role players that you think could have serve a role with the Pelicans to get Anthony Davis, or serve a role on the Wizards to maybe get Brad Beal. So that being said, I do think Anthony Davis should go to the Knicks. I have inside sources that say he would stay in New York, like he said the other day. LA, doesn't matter which LA, and the New York are pretty much the only two places he would stay. So New York is number one for me. They could get a lot of prospects, and they could just get a lot in return. They could get R.J. Barrett, Kevin Knox, Dennis Smith Jr. Those are three stars. And then you think about it, they get Zion and R.J. Barrett in this draft. They team those players right back up. I think Zion's happy. They have a Dennis Smith Jr., Jrue Holiday, RJ, Zion, and then stretch a small ball lineup would be Dennis Smith, Drew, RJ at the 3, Zion at the 4, and then a Kevin Knox at the 5, with a 6'9" forward. Maybe put Zion at the 5 even. He's big enough. I don't. So that's actually kind of a segue into our next section, as I think Ja Morant is the best player in this class. I give Zion, based on his size and his athleticism, I give his knees 6 or 7 years in this league before they just break. I don't think that he's going to physically be able to keep up his jumping habits and his just habits in general when it comes to athleticism for 10, 15, 20 years. The way he plays and how big he is, he's not going to stay that way. He will have a prime from his first year to his 6th or 7th year, and then I don't think he's going to have much more. So he will be one of the best players in the league during his prime, in the middle of his prime. But when it comes to the end of his prime, I think he's going to be an average starter. I think he's going to have 6 or 7 all-star years in his knees. His knees are all that matter, and I think he's going to have to transition himself as a player because he's not going to be able to run and jump like he does right now in the future when he's in his 30s. He's just not. So that's why when people say he's the next LeBron, I don't think so. He's not as good of a shooter, which he could improve, and I'm really hoping for that because I do want to see Zion to have a long and illustrious career. But I do think Ja Morant is a smarter Westbrook. I do think he is a Westbrook with an IQ. I think that he can limit his shots more and take better shots than the Westbrook to, one, maximize his range, because he's not an amazing jump shooter. He's an okay jump shooter. He's like Westbrook, like I said. But he's a smarter shooter. He will have much higher field goal percentages. He will have better passing stats when it comes to no turnovers and more assists. He did have a little bit of a turnover problem, but I think that can be very well covered up when he's training with Mike Conley and on the Grizzlies. Mike Conley, obviously one of the most underrated players of all time, will probably go down as the best player of all time to never make an all-star team. So I hope he gets traded to the East so he can make an all-star team at least once in his career. I think, honestly, based on his statistics and his prowess, Mike Conley could make the Hall of Fame without making an all-star. Like, honestly. That being said, like I said about Ja Morant, I think, like I said, he's Westbrook with an IQ. I don't think a best player of all time is going to come out in this class. The next best player in this league after Giannis is Luka Doncic. I think Luka Doncic is going to be the best player of all time to never be the best player in the league because Giannis is going to take that, and he's going to run with it. Anthony Davis is still only 26. So we have a lot of young stars heading up. Giannis is 24. He said he's going to work on his shot. I think that if he even gets half a shot, it's over. That being said, I think, like I said, I do think that the Knicks have the best trade package. I know I'm kind of jumping back and forth, but the Knicks have the best trade package to give the Pelicans. And the possibility of RJ and Zion moving back up to make a sort of Wade LeBron duo or even Kobe LeBron duo, it's just exciting. So where does Kemba go? And what does this mean for the Phoenix Suns? The Phoenix Suns need a veteran point guard. They need a Kemba Walker. Kemba, I think, should go to Dallas, New York, or Phoenix. I'm a Hornets fan, and I don't think he should go back to Charlotte. I like Kemba too much to have him go back to Charlotte. Phoenix is one floor manager away from being a playoff team. They have so many young stars. I believe that Devin Booker is still 24, and he's averaging 25 points per game. They have DeAndre Ayton, who had an underrated season. A 16-10 is nothing to complain about as a coach from a rookie center. Then they have Jackson, who I think is a young star in the making. He just needs to stay out of trouble, and so they are one good point guard away. So that's why I had hoped they got the top 3 picks so they could pick Ja Morant, because I think Ja Morant would put them over the top and maybe make them a playoff team in his first year, because I think they're one floor manager away from being a playoff team. So let's move over to the NFL. What teams should be more seriously looked at as Super Bowl contenders, and which teams are just wasting franchise quarterbacks? Because there are teams that have franchise quarterbacks that are going to waste it. The Texans being one of them. I think the Texans are going to waste the talent of Deshaun Watson, and I do think that the Bills are going to waste Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen could turn into a great quarterback. I do. But we'll see. Let's see. We don't really have much more time, so thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you.